Yes, audience, I was distracted away from the thumbs up by the fact that I was looking at the stream title to make sure it said Warhammer 40K Imperium Maledictum Iron Archipelago Episode 20 Season 1 Finale, which it does indeed say, Dunamis.
It's not a Warhammer episode if we're not trolling Dynamics in the first 10 seconds.
Omar Krieg joins us in this final episode of the first season as Velamris Quineel. Grimdark Podcast joins us as Holly Van der Velt. KainDamael as Rassie van Lucht, and I join as myself, but also as the Game Master. We have marched ourselves to the end of the first season. Next week, there will be an episode. It will not be an episode of the show. I will be doing campaign planning for Season 1.5, for Season 2, and Season 3. If you want to watch me babble live and draw on a drawing tablet and write poorly on Photoshop in order to elucidate my thought process, you may induce yourself to vomit by participating live. Chaderius Darkwind is a guy we all know, to some extent, mostly by reputation. I think only Velamris has actually met him. He runs a house, a trading house, the Darkwind trading house, really. And that is the focus of this dark office comedy. But we look not to this office comedy, but to a much darker, much officier, much less comedy far across the stars when we begin, as we see Primarch Roleplaying Guilliman, aka the Imperial Commander, the Lord Commander of the Imperium, as he makes his way into the most secure facility in all of the Imperium, deep into a bunker in the heart of his flagship. When we think of a Primarch, we think of someone who is a demigod trapped in something like human skin. Someone whose thoughts must be unknown to us mortals. But when we think about Roleplaying Guilliman, perhaps we do not remember that this is a man who did not just write the Codex Astartes, a novel that he is incredibly proud of, a compendium that would last for 10,000 years and be consulted as the height of military organization, logistics, morality, war rules. This man also wrote the Codex Jokestartes, a humble novel of all of the jokes he'd ever made. No, we don't know of these things from him, because what he truly ponders as he enters into this bunker is the last meeting he ever had with at least one of his brothers. In the light of a simple prophecy spoken to several Primarchs, the triumvirate, the Imperium Secundus, broke apart in but a single moment. Plans laid in to last for hundreds of years, the continuation of the dream of the God Emperor of a father, thrown aside in a single second, as three Primarchs made the choice to commit their full forces to, if they could not go directly to Terra, all of them would in some way support it. And for Primarch Roleplaying Guilliman, all he can remember as he walks through the lonely, bleak, most secure bunker in the Imperium is his most beautiful, most honored brother Sanguinius, as he turned to him and said, "And when shall we three meet again?" For all of them already knew through prophecy that none of them would ever see each other again, except maybe part of that gets retconned later. But not Sanguinius. He would never be seen again unless that gets retconned again later. As these dark thoughts travel through Roleplaying Guilliman's mind, he steps within this bunker and holds up a message from Archmagos Dominant Belisarius Call, and holds it before an artificial intelligence and says, "What does this mean, vile spawn? Time is the enemy?" And flickering to life, an artificial intelligence version of Belisarius Call begins to spin out the tale of Erasmus Harlock. And we cut back the events in progress as all of you are planning how to deal with the Hand of Calixis. What do you want to do?
I don't think we'd reached any conclusions last time, had we?
I agree. You didn't.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking you what you want to do.
We didn't,
Yeah.
and I'm waiting for AP to throw us out there as we haven't even talked about it in Discord over the last 2 weeks either, because I definitely didn't.
Or you can do it
You
yourself.
did it yourself. I didn't do it. If I was going to do it, I would have come in hard at you, and I didn't. I gave you peace and respect for your time, and no, you have to out yourself. Don't act like I was going to do it, because I would have done it if I was going to do it.
You just okay. All right.
I just what? I just what?
I don't know what happened. I know I got
just
super busy
what?
with the various things, but
Say it.
the implication.
The implicate. You guys got to let that go, okay?
We
Not everything
You know,
Robuche
you know-
Gulamon does is the implication.
Isn't it though?
It is certainly implied.
Listen, I have 3 hours blocked out here, so you let me know
So-
when you.
Yeah. So look, I think that the discussion we had was that we're not just going to outright try and take over the Hand of Calixtus right now. We're not going to make the first attack, but we also need to keep them in the dark as long as possible. They've already sent. I think they already sent a message asking for the Lord Captain, and we've already sent like a. He's busy. Is that right? Was that?
I think that
That's
if
fine.
you wanted to send a message that just said something like, just we'll hold on a sec, we'll get back to you. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, because I think we need to know what our next course of action is regarding.
He's in a meeting. We'll pass along your message as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Nice.
So was the implication that that he'd been taken into the space, or he'd been taken into the warp, but via the space hulk? Like, I don't had we considered going into the space hulk to try and recover him?
So to be clear, he didn't get taken into the Space Hulk. He got taken into the warp directly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So realistically speaking, we need to treat him as functionally dead because we have no way of, even if we knew where he was in the warp, which is infinite, we have no way to reach that exact spot.
And I imagine we don't have any remains of any sort. We could literally just classify him as missing because we don't have any remains to provide as proof of his demise. Not that I want to be throwing that out there right away, but
So I want to hit my books, because I've obviously been studying his family for the purposes of this impending marriage, and work out who is the next most likely in line for the succession of his line.
I don't think it takes much of a look in your books for that. He specifically hadn't named an heir so that there would be a chaotic war if he was killed by someone.
Okay.
Right? He didn't want there to be a most likely, because then that person might kill him.
Yeah.
I talked about this with Pondo.
Okay. All right.
definitely sounds like something Pondo would say. No, I want them to fight over my leavings.
Someone will earn it.
Yes, libertarian Pondo, of course.
What became of the bodies of those that were corrupted?
So those that were
Specifically-
turned into daemons disappeared back into the warp after death. Slowly, but they did go.
Okay, so that includes like Wormtongue. Was it
Yes.
what was his name?
Yeah.
Wade the Ill-Tongue.
Wade the
Ill-tongue,
Ill-Tongue, yes.
That's
Not
right,
Worm. I would never name a character Wormtongue. That would be intellectual property and copyright infringement. Wade the Ill-Tongue, a legally distinct character. Yes, he did fade away before you slowly.
Yeah.
So we have none of their remains as well as.
Do we have any? Is there any picked capture inside
Oh yeah, for
the
sure. I
facility?
mean, like Neo going into the building in the Matrix, where he's like, "Holy shit!" and he was like, "Brrr." Yeah, like that happens, but with daemons, and you've got that on picked capture.
Okay. What about anywhere that Harlock went in the building when he came in to when he disappeared?
Harlock shows up on picks. Nothing stopping you there. There is a weird thing that happens from the moment that he enters into Rassie's reality bubble until the moment he leaves. The camera kind of out, just static.
Okay.
So we do have a capture of him leaving with the rogue trader.
Yeah, it's super brief. It's just like the two of them fading away into the warp. It's not great. Probably shouldn't look at it too much.
Yeah.
Rassie's just like, this is weird.
I think for you, Rassie, there's a lot of strange implications on what's going on with Harlock, right? Like,
yeah.
For much of your life, you weren't aware that you were a pariah or a null or a blank, whatever you want to call it. But the key thing is that you have been taught, in fact, hypno-indoctrinated, that daemons shouldn't be able to see you or touch you in any way. So the fact that he could hold a full conversation with you was very strange. But more importantly, it's almost like he overlaid himself with demonic power, and when he reached in, that sort of shadow, flesh, and clockwork part of him, that must be what's still, dare I say, human. I mean, he's more machine than man now, twisted and evil, but there is still something human about him, even if he does claim to be something demonic.
There's still good in him? Is that what you're saying?
I definitely would never say that about Erasmus Harlock for sure.
Maybe Pondo can convert him back by throwing.
I mean, according to my canon, Erasmus Harlock is responsible for new editions of Warhammer, so he can't be good. He causes people to spend thousands of dollars on new rule books every decade.
Well, the shareholders might disagree, AP.
From my point of view, the shareholders are evil.
I love democracy.
Yeah.
Said no one in Warhammer 40K.
No,
ever.
absolutely not.
All right. So, do we have, and are there any surviving members of a legal department?
Yes, there are.
Of course, the legal team would survive a demonic incursion.
Even demons not to fuck with legal.
Right?
Okay, so you head to the legal department. In fact, the legal department is basically completely intact. Like, the instant they heard anything bad was happening, they all bailed immediately and tried to go for the roof so that they could catch, like, emergency helicopter out. So you find a gentleman by the name of Mal Ufrid. He is the executive vice president of the legal department. His boss was turned into a daemon. Mal seems a little shook up, but he's just like, yeah, I always knew he had it in him. Okay, so the three of you are part of our acquisitions team. Is there something I can do for you?
Yes. So we were working with Pierre Cowles of the Cowles dynasty, and that whole incident we've just experienced was a demonic entity entering our building, killing lots of people, but taking Cowles with him back into the warp, we can only assume.
You can see that he's writing things down on a legal pad, and he has like a servitor next to him that has like a red ink pot that's like marking things of his out and putting replacement words in here. And he's like, okay, I have some notes, but please continue. We'll go over them in a moment.
Okay, so we obviously have Cowles' flagship in orbit of the station, which is currently maintaining the integrity of the Space Hulk, but is also, they're gonna ask questions. The only other person that came with Cowles also died in the incident. We've obviously got picked capture of what's going on. So my thought, and I'll take your advice on this, is that we need to get in the front foot here. We need to serve the Cowles dynasty with notice of our intent on damages for the harm that's been done to our staff and our facility as they've brought their clear battle with an otherworldly entity to our home. We need probably to file some sort of injunction to ensure that there's prevented hostilities from the Chaos Dynasty in response to an action they're clearly responsible for?
Okay, I have some thoughts here. Let's start with the word incident that you opened with. We're not going to call this situation an incident for insurance purpose. We are going to consider this an act of the God Emperor for insurance purposes. And number two, you use the words killing and death. We prefer that you use something more algorithm friendly, like unalive. That's just a minor quibble, but do not admit to outside parties that you have a picked capture of this incident. They don't need to know about our capabilities, and my understanding from one of my staff is that looking at the picked capture caused him to go insane and begin talking about triangles. So probably don't admit that we have pics of what happened. Outside sources don't need to know that until I get clearance from someone higher up. But overall, I have to say your plan to serve the Chaos Dynasty with an injunction is inspired. The only problem is that my understanding is the judges on the rocks here pretty much completely flooded over. Several of them have left to get on ships because of the impending translation of the Space Hulk and the possible doom of the people here. A very serious concern. At least one judge was recently bribed and just left his office. Flashback to you guys bribing that judge, and he just got up and left. So we don't have a lot of local. I mean, the judiciary on the rocks here is not very well expanded. I don't know that there are any judges left to appeal to. That said, if you can find one, please do get an injunction.
Yeah. Well, we don't need an injunction granted. We just need an injunction filed.
Right.
So that it's documented that we are seeking one, and any action, preliminary to that injunction would have to be considered in breach following the granting of any injunction.
I agree. I think that's a great plan. I do have to say that in combat between two rogue trader crews, basically nearly worthless, but it's always good to cover our bases when two mostly lawless merchant marine groups collide in a sort of violent way. It's good to follow procedures. Sorry, do you need a job? Have you considered working for our legal department?
No. I've just had to study claims regarding property and title for my previous job.
I see. Well, that's unfortunate. We could use somebody like you on staff. We lost someone very important to us. It was the executive president of our branch. So, everyone's going to be bumped up one. We're going to be missing a paralegal somewhere deep down at the bottom of the list. So, could have used a new one.
Velamris is taking a single step back.
Oh, yeah, he sees you and he says, Mr. Quineel, I have your enslavement contract here. Apparently, you have been sold to us.
I am that property.
You apparently countersigned this document yourself, sir. You actually wrote it.
I would not have used those terms. I won't disagree with the fact that I work for Chaderius Darkwind.
He just says, okay, well, however your agreements between your former boss in the administratum, yourself, and your sale to this company are, you are, in fact, our property. But don't worry, we're going to take great care of you. Just wanted to say, welcome to the team again. Don't worry, you're not going anywhere.
Very well. We'll discuss the redefinition of certain terms at a
probably
when
not.
things settle down.
I don't know that you're ever going to be in my office again.
I
We'll
mean, this
find
is good
someone
news,
with the
right?
suitable rank to speak to you.
I mean, this is good news, right? You wanted to stay.
Yes. Yeah, no. The outcome is favorable. The definitions and some of the terms used are not.
Okay.
But
Mal
we
Orfred
have bigger fish to
looks
fry.
down. It's clear that he's done with this discussion. Just like, right, terms and definitions. Just, my entire job and career and life's work. Right, got it. Hey, if you don't want to be called a slave, we can just call you a prisoner with a job.
Mr. Quineel would be sufficient, to be honest.
I did
but
call you Mr. Quineel.
You did. and I
I
appreciate
have no
that.
reason to treat you with anything less than human respect. Just because you're owned by us doesn't mean that we don't treat you like you're human. We own plenty of humans.
Very well. I will address this matter at a later date. There are certainly more important things to be attended to at this
I
time
will
than
get you
my
some
opinions of words on
low-ranking
paper.
lawyer who's more capable of speaking with you.
Sure.
Don't come back to my office.
Just to be clear, I'm laughing. Velamris
Right,
is not.
I understand. Yes, I understand the difference. Yeah.
All right. So I just want to establish here that from this point forward, any communication that we do in correspondence with the Chaos Dynasty, like emails, telephone calls, etc., it's all going through legal first.
Understood.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
So-
electronic mails and telephone calls, which definitely exist. I believe what you meant to say was psychic communication and scroll messengers are.
Yeah. Well, we don't have psychic communication because
That's true. He's dead now.
Our telepath's dead. Yeah.
What do they call Vox? Yes, your Vox
It is.
casts to.
Yeah. Lots of stuff. Yeah.
Our telepath is dead, or our astropath is dead, and in the back of Rassie's mind goes, "Good fucking riddance."
So who was the woman again in Cal's line that was always like, great grandfather? I need to, the one that was is always
The
my
hugs
shadow.
and kisses one?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, who was she?
Hold on. You're talking about two different people there, because Hugs and Kisses is Captain Valeria Stormrider, and then
Okay.
there was oh man, I'm not sure I wrote her name down, which is deeply unfortunate right now. I think it started with an O, but she was the one that was Cal's Winter Scale. Yes, you want to go talk to her?
Well, I wanted to send, once we've got the actual communication ready, because obviously the communication we send about the claim, the implication of liability is obviously going to imply that Cowles is now no longer in our care.
Right, and it makes sense to send it to his seneschal, who.
Yeah, that's right. And I would like to invite her to come and discuss the matter with us. Basically, I want to make sure that I imply in the letter we want to negotiate.
I'm writing this down. The implication is
Yes.
what exactly?
that we would like to negotiate with her regarding the continued cooperation between the Chaos Dynasty and the Darkwind trade house. Once again, implying that we're calling out her specifically as the person we believe we need to be dealing with going forward.
And that makes perfect sense, because you don't need to speak to the captain of the ship. You need to speak to the seneschal of the line. Makes sense to me. Checks out.
Yeah.
I would like some kind of roll regarding this message.
Okay. I thought you said we were going to roll dice today.
Yes, but I was lying when I said that, because I said it sarcastically, just like I say 90% of things sarcastically. I know it can be difficult to tell between my sarcasm and truth. It's a real problem for me.
I can give rapport, presence, intuition, people. Any of these things you think can apply here?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I also would accept some sort of compose writing role. I know that's getting very Pendragon-y.
Logic.
But...
Yeah,
I think a logic role could also work.
As far as to get the wording right and to ensure the wording has the implications that we want. Not that I keep wanting to use that word over and over, but just to get the right message through.
If it's logic, then definitely I think that Velamris should be writing it with me.
Right. I didn't say you had to write it. I just said I need a role. I think rapport or logic, either of these will work. The real question is not that you choose whichever one has the best role, but what the group decides is more important. The charm and schmooze going into the message, or whether it's the formality with which it is delivered. You know what I mean? Making sure it gets to the exact right person.
I'm definitely trying to seed in the concept that, I want to try and support her claim without simply saying, "Oh, no, the king is dead, long live the queen."
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I think that has to be a logic role. Then I don't know that.
Yeah.
Being nice to her will accomplish that.
What if I rolled logic? And on success, it gives him advantage on his rapport.
if you want to make it more difficult for yourself, you can make 2 rolls instead of 1.
No. I would be rolling to give him the advantage.
I think I'm fine with just the 1 logic roll, and I can help you with a tentative system, and because I'm trained as well, it will give you +1 SL and advantage.
Okay, so I'm gonna make the roll with the +10 or whatever.
So you do a roll with advantage, and where it's got should have an SL, yeah,
+1.
+1 in there, yeah. And now, I'm assuming our rogue trader has influence with rogue traders?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because they come with that. They come with 1 by default, unless he somehow lost it.
Okay, hold on. Well, I don't know that that's true for Imperium Maledictum, though. You know what I mean?
In Imperium Maledictum, it is like because every single patron starts with 1 influence in their own.
Yeah, okay. I'm not required to tell you what it is, but I'm guessing that if it's enough to turn you from a failure to success, you'll just assume the number. But yes, you are correct. I have double checked his list, and it is a number that is not 0.
Okay, cool. So whatever it is gets added to your result.
Yes.
Because we are invoking his name. We are writing it on behalf of his dynasty. So.
In the name of God, yes. I've heard Sabaton before.
All right. Is there anything else for this roll, or shall I go ahead and hit it?
You have your +1 and advantage in there?
Correct.
Okay.
I just want to make sure there was nothing else that James was...
No, I don't think I've got any... My writing kits don't do anything in extra for this, so...
Okay, you just need to spend a deed on this, gray shaded. Okay, I mean, that's a really, really big success.
I think we've earned her trust in backing her.
I think you prepare this message.
Was well received.
You send it, and that's when you get a bunch of people like running through the hallways whooping, and you see someone like open a side window that faces out into space away from the Space Hulk, one that runs alongside the private docking like facilities that abut the side of the asteroid. And you see that there is a lunar, a tyrant, enforcer class cruisers, and a Carrick class transport ship. One of them is towing a sort of Xenos vessel behind them in chains. And it appears that the fleet of the Darkwind Trading House has returned somewhat intact. There's a lot of battle damage, and there's even some active smoke coming out of the Votanic Pride. But it looks like they're back. And at that point, you guys, someone runs up to you with a scroll and is just like, "Excuse me, you are the acquisitions team?"
Not too loud, are you good?
That's correct.
They get down on one knee and hold out a scroll for you. Please.
I'll read the scroll while they're holding. I'm not going to take the scroll. I'm going to read it while they unfold it.
Yes.
Yeah. Like
they unfold. Yes, they do unfold it for you. Like they were going to have you take it, but when you indicate that you're not, they unfold it for you, and you lean over and you read the text. But you put on your reading glasses as well. You read the text message from your daughter. Oh, okay, yes. It's a really specific. Yes. So it is a summons to the private docks so that you can meet with Chaderius Darkwind, the rogue trader captain, master of the house. He wishes to inspect his successful team and property and expresses his condolences since he can't seem to get a hold of Liturgical.
I would like to bring the because I had all the departments file their personnel and equipment losses.
You did.
First question, looking through these, do we still have our thermometers intact as far as we know? Nothing here has jeopardized any of those?
Or the work of
your
what we
property,
put into them.
all of the property that you got for this endeavor is all intact. Yes.
Okay.
You are 100% ready to go with 6 months worth of goods. The slight problem might be that they've been gone for 9 months, so they probably need 9 months of replenishment, but you have 6 months ready to go. You've achieved the stated goals and objectives that were set before you.
Okay. But I'll bring all of it, so I've got, all
got
the
a report collated. You're using Enhoplite's 3.5-inch ring binders. color coded, just to
double-spaced.
Double-spaced.
A bold, like a bold, flat font that's not difficult to read, but
it
takes
Time Roman
more room
numeral
than it
12,
should.
not Calibri, cover sheet on everything.
Look, it's definitely a power move to provide the report in with Archaeotech ring binders.
Yes, yeah.
So we'll grab some of the surviving servitors to carry these and bring them with us. So if he asks, we can provide.
You see yourselves on the dock several minutes later, alongside other people we've met so far. It's no surprise to see Hoplite there with the penguin plushie. You also see Executive Vice President of Legal, Mal Ofrid. Part of the garage team. I think like just one of them is left, probably the guy who was the ace of the basketball team. All the rest of them turned into daemons and died. And your savant that you met, whose name is eluding me, but
the mousy lady.
Yes, mousy lady.
My brain's going like Panopopoulos or something.
I cannot remember.
Oh,
yeah, it was a Greek name.
Yes.
Somebody was trying to hook me up with her or something like that. I remember.
What?
Yeah, me.
I don't remember.
Because you thought it was funny.
I didn't do anything with it.
Dr. Yiannopoulos. Yes.
Yiannopoulos.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chief Tyrrell is there from the vault.
It's a classic matchmaker misbelief that anyone who does the same job must be compatible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spoken like a true Ordo Famulus player.
Now I want to see James's Ordo Famulus kill team. It's literally
oh my god,
bunch of people with stacks of paper. Their models are like tripping and the papers are flying into the air, sort of deal.
One of them has a staff and just says "bop" on it.
As landing shuttles begin heading over ahead of the ship's docking, you can see that there is a shuttle that is being escorted. I was going to say extorted. There is a ship being escorted. There are a set of Fury interceptors escorting a Shark assault boat, but the assault boat has like a large black box under it that's being held in place by silver chains, and there are symbols of the Inquisition on it. Holly, you recognize obviously the main symbol of the Inquisition and several of the other runes upon it that are like sigils of warding. There's also like runes that you're aware of that tell you things like how psychically active an object is and like how powerful it is. You're aware of all of the normal grades of coding. You don't recognize what these runes are.
Okay.
They're definitely human and they're definitely imperial-ish, but they're not from any classification scale you know of.
Okay.
You know, it's like seeing something written in the English alphabet, but it puts together a word that you're like, that can't be real, right?
Just going back one step, by the way, there's only one piece of official artwork for a Sister Famulus. Everything else is like, fan art. And the one piece of official artwork has, on the top of her habit, she has like a candle, like stuck on top of the habit. And so every time I look at that, it makes me want to do the whole, the kobold,
Yeah.
No, take candle.
We went to the same place. Yeah. I think this is a great place to take our first break for the day. And when we get back, we're going to meet with the best rogue trader I've ever met. Rogue trader Chaderius Darkwind.
Well, of the two that you've met,
I do want to say, James and I recently had a discussion about how I didn't play the rogue trader in our rogue trader game, and that I let Pondo do it. And that's because I didn't want to like show stop and like steal the whole show sort of deal. And Pondo did an absolutely great job of just being like, yes, okay, well, do that thing and blow them up, but do something really cruel that'll make me look awesome.
I gotta say,
go ahead, James.
There is. If you're ever going to run a rogue trader campaign, and I mentioned this to Omar when he started to run one, it is one of those campaigns that's very important to have a good session zero, because someone is going to have ultimate power in character, but that can't be the power dynamic at the table. Like, you can't just have one player that gets make all decisions and every other player gets told, no, you don't get what you want. So having a player contract whereby people recognize that the power between the players and the power between the characters is quite different is very important in a rogue trader game, in my humble opinion.
It's not that humble, but yes, I agree with you as well. That's why I let
humble,
Bondo
he
do
said.
it. Because if I did it, I would do ridiculous shit. I will
You
stop.
did ridiculous shit as Nero.
Yes, I agree, but I'll stop at nothing to chase a comedic bit.
If I could just say, by the way, as well, I find this very funny. When I Google image search Sister Famulus, the fourth picture in line is the art we had done of Sister Miriam for Road Trader.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah.
That might just be a self-referential search. You know, it might have tied such knowledge to you, but yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, James. All right, you're becoming canon. That's how you gain power in the Warhammer 40K universe. You become canon. All right, we're going to go on a 5-minute break. And when we come back, we're going to meet with the boss. And then we're really going to find out who the boss is. Who's the boss? You can see further down the dock that a ceremony of arrival is being held for someone claiming to be the rogue trader Chaderius Darkwind. $8,000 worth of fireworks have been set off, a full marching band accompanied by several squads and fire teams of soldiers who assemble themselves in lines, draw swords, music swells as a man that you don't recognize stands at the top in a beautiful uniform and introduces himself to the crowd as Chaderius Darkwind. People are cheering and screaming, and Velamris, the man that you know as Chaderius Darkwind, steps off of a shuttle wearing a nice, like, tan blazer, a black dress shirt, slacks, holding a cup of coffee, almost, in fact, exactly like the Kin hard bottle Starbucks coffees that you've seen them drinking before, as he heads towards your group. Neatly cropped beard and hair definitely under control. He heads toward all of you. Around you, servants begin assembling a dining room. What I mean is they're coming off of the shuttle and they're setting up like a nice, like, oak table with wooden chairs. They're laying down a full table service of, you know, white tablecloth, a cornucopia in the middle, dishes with bread and butter around you, wine glasses. They're assembling walls and a ceiling over you in this docking bay all around you so that you can have a private conversation with the real rogue trader. Chaderius goes to sit down. He's not sitting down on anything, and someone produces a chair so he doesn't fall, and then tucks him in, pushes him in, so he sits at the head of the table, and he says, please, sit down, all of you. I've heard so much from Liturgical's reports. He hasn't made any promises or even something like an endorsement, but it sounds like he's found you to be acceptable in a way that no other team has been so far. Shall we review your performance this year so far?
Yes, Lord Captain, but before we do, I should let you know that Liturgical has just died not an hour ago.
I'm aware. I've got a number of reports from your group as well as my Major Domo. I'm aware of most of what's going on here, but I feel it's important to debrief you while the iron's hot, so to speak. Your team has had a lot going on, and I'm sure you want an opportunity to decompress, but there's also the need to reward those who have been working hard in my name. So it looks like you started off with something like a crusade into a tertiary data crypt to deliver your own paperwork?
Lord Captain, if I may,
yes.
I wouldn't call it a crusade per se. It was just more of finding an expeditious route through the tedium of, well, the administratum and its ways. Having the experience, I figured it would be best if we moved as fast as we could so we could get to the real task at hand, which was providing the resupply efforts for your ships and crews.
Of course. How would you say that operation went for you?
Better than expected in all better than expected in all honesty. I expected to be delayed by several days.
So you also expected to be ambushed by gangsters?
Well, no, but we handled that as well.
I think we, like a clips show, we cut back to like Rassie like
Look, Lord Captain,
yes,
we might not always be informed of the risks of potential ambushes, but it's prudent to always be prepared for one.
Understood. When we're in private like this, you can just call me Chad.
I think there's a shiver. I don't know if the shiver is the right word, but
me by my title the whole time. I feel like that. I understand we're in a formal setting, but this is an informal meeting.
I think, like a finger on a trigger, if you always do the right thing when you don't need to, you'll never do the wrong thing when you do.
Well, it looks like you dealt with a crime boss demanding answers. I didn't know that Dinas Katari was aware of my mother's deal with the Mephits, but it looks like you kept that deal alive, which I greatly appreciate. It seems like
beneficial to the.
Oh, sorry.
It seemed beneficial to the dynasty to continue that operation.
Of course, it seems like you benefited personally from payments. I see that you've managed to convince him about the uniqueness of our stock. It seems like we'll be able to offload corpses of lesser quality. So deeply appreciative of that. And you entered into a dance battle with Kin Hardbottle for the right to print firearms. Is this correct?
That's correct. Yes, that's correct assessment of the situation.
Okay. Destruction of Chaos Renegade mutineers pretending to be infractionists in order to not pay a bill. Don't get me wrong. Any opportunity to save money is a good one, but in the future, we should probably not kill our creditors or debtors. It generally doesn't look good for us. This one was below the level. I don't know that anyone's going to track us on this, but in general, we should pay our debts. Invoices are there for a reason.
I think Velamris looks over to Holly and Rassie, and he's like, "Was that the tunnel snakes?"
Yes, it's the tunnel snake.
Yes. Yeah.
I think Velamris just has a look of like, I would not have considered them debtors. They were miscreants at best, but or creditors, whichever. But as you say, Lord Captain,
out of character, did we get verified proof that money was owed, or was it word to word?
It was word to word from the files of Dinas Katari and from them.
Oh, I think I froze for a minute there.
You're good now.
There's no legal agreement between the two groups.
Yeah,
just Dinas Katari.
I didn't see that there was any future business opportunity with that particular group, and they were threatening violence. So violence appeared to be the prudent response.
I agree.
I'm not faulting you on this situation. I just want to make it clear that the circumstances here warranted your actions, and I have nothing against them. But in the future, we should be very careful about which creditors we kill. It sets a bad precedent. Speaking of a bad precedent, it looks like you had a run-in with the Dark Mechanicus. Something about cyber dogs and dark runes. A suggestion that Velamris be instituted for psychiatric care that was denied, apparently.
Again, I look over to the other two and I'm like, I don't remember cyber dogs.
There's definitely evidence that the Dark Mechanic were operating on the Archipelago and attempted to strong arm us into assisting them that we have so far avoided.
Well, you have managed to strain my relationship with the exiled Magos nearby, but they've always been a pain in the ass, and, well, given the fact that they need us to drag their stupid little asteroid to get out of this situation, it would appear that I can hold him over the coals, so to speak, so.
Lord Captain, at the risk of being out of line, I'm not sure if keeping him in our favor is a good idea. He seems pretty obstinate generically.
Do you know what he's working on?
It would be far beyond my purview.
I don't know what he's working, but he's been working on it for almost 100 years, and the Inquisition sponsor that I have wants him to keep working on it.
then I will close my mouth.
If it behooves us to increase relationship with the Margos and this station will continue operating as any form of ongoing concern, could it be worthwhile having the Margos be publicly involved in the dynasty's towing of the station in order to rebuild trust for the Mechanicum of the people aboard the Archipelago, so the Mechanicum could return to a state of operation here?
Interesting. Having the Mechanicum be exiled was part of an Inquisition plot to separate them physically from the rest of the populace and keep people from prying into them. I will speak with my inquisitorial contact. I haven't seen Inquisitor Profundus around.
He's a
dead one,
replaced.
Right? Yeah.
I find that difficult to believe, but
we've met with his replacement, and he is far less liberal with his methods, it would seem.
Well, Profundus was a radical, so it would seem I have a lot to do in the immediate.
I, for the life of me, cannot remember his name, but I'm sure Velamris would have.
Courts. It's Inquisitor Courts. There's a lot here to talk about with the Wrathful Righteous, but given the fact that I have a transport, and I can transport them off station, and I'm also going to drag my stations with me, it would seem that they owe me some form of loyalty, so my hope is to negotiate with this Father Firebrand in the immediate future. You've done well by laying down the paths here. Honestly, Liturgical does not speak highly of very many people, but it would seem that you have exceeded expectations here. I assume that you know, and he turns to Velamris, what the Peter Principle is. But I'm looking at James because I know he knows what the Peter Principle is.
Omar, do not know what that is.
But Velamris would know what the Peter Principle is.
Is it anything business administration related?
No.
Sure, probably.
Peter's Principle is the concept that everybody in business rises to the level of their own incompetence. That is, you're good at your job, so you get promoted. You're good at your job, you get promoted. You're not good at your job, so you stay there in the job you're not good at. Because everyone promotes based upon performance in your current role, not on how well you perform in your next role.
I think we've talked about that before on the show.
Yeah.
So when I promote somebody, if they aren't good enough to do the new job, we demote them back down. We don't need the bureaucratic mess of the Imperium to slow us down. We're an agile company. With that said, I think that there's a chance for all of you to go far. Breaking this group up, your individual talents can be used throughout my business empire, but it seems like you have a sort of bond together, and I have to say, sometimes when you're a rogue trader, you can pick up when the God Emperor is protecting people. It's almost like they have fate behind them. You want to find those people, and you want to make sure that they work for you. If you are okay with keeping your team together, and he looks at all of you before he continues.
Yes, because we're
Velamris. I think Velamris just nods or something. I don't think he really knows what to say or that he should say anything at that point.
At this point, like a series of like a fruit salad and like roasted quail is being served all around you. He's like, we'll get to this in a second. Yes, so I was thinking of promoting all of you. Now, I know that technically most of you don't work for Leave. Velamris, I own you now. Apparently you sold yourself to my company, which is such a bold move, and I'm really excited to see what you're going to do in the future. Sister Holly, it seems like if we assume that Pierre Cowles is still alive until his marriage is settled, my hands are tied. You're going to have to remain with me. I mean, I can send my apologies along to your superiors and beg their indulgence for your continued loan onto my staff with appropriate gifts, but I'm afraid you're going to have to remain in my employ for some time. I know it could be rough for you.
I think Velamris actually says that very quiet. He's like, oh no.
So certainly I have found a niche in your service that I had not previously expected to. And so it is with no consternation that I will remain on
I'd like you to take temporary administrative bureaucratic control of this team. I'll be providing you with replacement leadership as soon as I can. We have some candidates in mind, but we'll talk about the immediate future of your transit during the upcoming warp translation. We'll be assigning you a evaluator for your team temporarily to see if you're ready to move up. Lieutenant Rassie, it would seem that in 3 months our bargain will be concluded and I will owe you 1 regiment. Is that correct?
It is my understanding of the current state of affairs.
It would seem so. You have the equipment, which I admire your gumption. Using my property to make yourself the imperial governor of my colony is a bold move. And eliminating people who have been a thorn in my side for some time in an entirely legal, transparent process is a bold move as well. I'm about to come into possession of a number of highly motivated troops that are trained by a former Elysian drop trooper. I was thinking that they might serve well underneath their former instructor. I don't think we'll legally be allowed to call them the 143rd Elysian Drop Regiment. That regiment has officially been struck from Imperial records, but what happens outside of the Imperium's reach is our own business. I think the
Lord
143rd Regiment of Darkwind Trading House certainly has a thing for it, and you can provide them with your unique insight. They say that Elysians can feel the wind.
We are a different kind of guardsman.
Well, I'm afraid I can't provide you with those born on Elysium, but if you're okay with religious zealots who are good with flamethrowers, I would love for you to train them up to be something acceptable to an Elysian.
I would look forward to the opportunity, sir.
Now, my understanding is that you are in need of a job. You are a lieutenant without a regiment now. Have you considered cashiering your service out of the Imperium service and into mine in a more permanent manner?
Given the unique challenges and opportunities that I have experienced here, I would enjoy the opportunity to continue to do so.
Our legal department will cover things with you. I'm sure there's going to be reams of paperwork where all the papers have the corners cut off, so it's like 8-sided, but we'll get it done.
Just regarding the matter of the Wrathful Righteous as well, just so you know, there is a member of the Adeptus Arbites, an investigator Decker, who was seeking to have them removed from the station. It may be possible to garner some influence with the Arbites to make this appear to be part of assisting them if we're going to do it otherwise.
Fantastic. I love double dealing. You can dip your hand in the pot multiple times. There's like a knock at a door that's still being installed. Like someone's got like a power bolter that's like, brr, brr. And then the door immediately opens and you see Inquisitor Gortz is there. And he's just like, so this is the one that does business with radicals. And then like a sword bursts out of the front of his face. And then the chainsword part like, Velamris, you full on get most of a dude's brains all over you. As you see,
I think when that happens, there's a part where Velamris is just like shocked, and then he's like, "Oh, good, I didn't really like him anyway." But he doesn't say that because it's happening too fast. So it's like one part shock, one part, "Oh, this is cool," and then, "Fuck, who's got the damn chainsword?"
The chainsword comes out, and you see like covered in cuts and bruises, blood and strange fluids all over the outside of his classic inquisitorial outfit. Inquisitor Profundus is there and says, well, Gortz, the thing about assassinating people is it's better if you just do it yourself.
Lord Captain, may I present the Inquisitor Profundus.
Inquisitor Profundus.
We were just talking about him a moment ago.
Inquisitor Profundus goes, "Shut the hell up, jackass. Of course I know him. We've been friends for 20 years. Chaderius walks up and they manshake, and he's just like, "Profundus, you son of a bitch. When they told me you were dead, I didn't believe them." Profundus is just like, "So I heard you acquired another device. There hasn't been one in the Empire for thousands of years." Yeah, the Inquisition's got you pushing too many autocoils. Wow, James, that's one of the best ones I've ever seen. You've done some chat messages before, but such a specific Predator reference. In the perfect moment. So good. What was I memeing about where I had to stop for that?
He had just
brought a device.
The device, yes. And the rogue trader says, "Perhaps we shouldn't talk about that here, but yes, I do have what you're seeking. It came at a great cost." And Profundus is like, "No worries. If there's one thing a radical knows about, it's that a good price should be paid for good goods." And he like looks and he's rubbing his hands as he sees like giant mechanized loader things moving the box covered in silver chains. He glances over at all of you as if he's saying like, maybe I should kill all of them just for seeing the box, and then goes, No. Well, it would seem you're busy now, Darkwind, but when you have time, come down to my office. We had to move out of the abandoned factory. Some jackass strolled in recently. And as he said that,
he's like, "It's some jackass."
Yeah, he flicks the blood off the chainsword, and like Velamris, just a second wave slapped you in the face.
How fortuitous that there was a governor at the time to ensure a smooth transition of the operation.
Profundus doesn't even look at you. You're so far beneath his notice.
Yeah.
He hands the rogue trader a card with his new address and says, "I expect you'll be transiting us out of this little problem soon enough, but try to make sure you don't blow up the whole colony on our way into the warp. We live here, so I like being alive." And at that point, Chaderius puts a hand on the Inquisitor's shoulder and says, "There's one thing an Inquisitor should know. It's that no one gets out of this life alive, my friend." At that point, unless any of you have anything else to say to Chaderius Darkwind, we're going to fade away from this meeting to the next scene.
I was waiting for the Inquisitor to leave, hoping that he was leaving before us.
The Inquisitor does leave before. Chaderius is like looking over the blood-covered dinner table and is like, "Well, this is a mess. I'll just have something later. Can I have it boxed for you? Velamris, perhaps I can have something fresh brought out."
Something that might be of interest, sir. Our recent unwanted guest.
Which unwanted guest?
The most recent one. The one that...
yes, it would be best not to speak its name, you know.
Right.
Those things have great powers, yes.
We've gone to calling him Douchey E. But...
I don't know that that's going to hold up. Let's just call him E. How about
Understood. That? He seemed interested into whether you had returned yet with a device.
Interesting. Seemed that our late arrival was indeed fortuitous. Sometimes the winds of fate carry you in strange ways. And as he says this, he turns to leave, and like a servitor appears and begins playing a pre-recorded vox. It's just like, "Greetings from Captain Valeria Stormrider. Kisses and hugs. Meow 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 meow." And it's just like absolute, like, despite the cringe intro, it's like 100% a very super serious, like, formal report of like, "Yes, we are the Hand of Calixis, and we understand that there's a lot going on. Things are very difficult between our crews. I send you greetings." It's like 5 paragraphs long, and then at the end it's like, "Love Valeria Stormrider XOXOXO, flirtations and kisses." And it's all just being broadcast out of this incredibly sour guy who has no lower jaw. It's just been replaced by a speaker, whose eyes are just dead, staring forward as there's wires coming out of his exposed brain. The rogue trader turns back to look at you and says, "So about that doggy bag, Velamris." All of you have some time together before you are invited to the funeral of Liturgical and the others who died. If there's anything else you want to... This is your season 1, wrap up all of your quests. If there's anyone you want to talk to, if there's anything you want to do before we reach the end game.
There's definitely a scene where Holly goes back to her own room and just starts to, like, kick any furniture which is, you know, on the ground and throw things and have just a bit of a very short screaming fest to, like, you know, because she's absolutely ropeable that the only thing that she wants is to get permanent employment with this and
the other two have it.
And the other two both got it. That's right. Yeah. So
Semisonic's closing time is playing while Velamris and Rassie calmly put their entire life's work into bags, and Holly's just like ripping things off the shelves.
Yeah, I think there's a moment where it's like you'd get the wide swipe of just ripping things off the wall, and then there's Velamris steadily, very deliberately taking one thumbtack out of the wall for his conspiracy board, taking another one out, pulling the string down, rolling it up, putting it all away nice and neat, and then it's back to Sister Holly just chucking a bookshelf or some shit.
I do want to say when I don't know if it came across when Chaderius was like, "Until the marriage is done, I guess you're gonna..." Okay, just to make sure that...
As I said, like me, James is not 100%, but Sister Holly is definitely interpreted in the worst possible way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in other words, Holly's mad that she's not getting the 500 long-term goal XP.
Oh no, it's not XP at all. It's more for her, like, the implication here is about the implication, you see. At any point in time when we don't want to keep, you know, at any point when the road trader doesn't want to keep her around, you can just say, "Okay, well, I'm now done with this. You know, this matter is settled. Off you go back." You know, she's trying to avoid getting sent back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I get it. I wanted to make a joke, but you made a better one, and then you doubled down with the implication.
You guys are really hopped up on that implication, huh?
You started it.
Yeah, really, you did. Like 2 weeks ago.
I'm super sad that I did. Lieutenant Van Luck, you receive a series of orders indicating that into your service, a group of individuals called the Flame Wardens, exactly 1,000 of them, are going to be put into your care and training. You are ordered to report upon the Light of Dawn Carrick class transport with the rest of your acquisitions team. You're all being promoted to a new spot pending evaluation by Space Marine Mercutio Borghese. And
it's the big blue guy from
it is
Rassie's intro.
But he's not actually blue, apparently. I thought for some reason I thought all successor chapters carried the same color scheme as their originators, but the Brazen Consuls are actually like brown. So
maybe he's a librarian.
No, he's not. He's whatever the assault is. The dudes who ride the assault bikes. He's that. He's in Sixth Company or whatever.
Outrider. Well, it's Outrider if it's a Primaris.
He's not a Primaris. He's just a regular. I'm sorry. He's a Firstborn, I think is what they call it now. Yeah, Big Spoon just joined us, and he's actually me about all of that. So, Rassie, your orders are whenever you are not strictly on your regular duties in service to Sister Holly's team, pending an actual advisor being attached to you. Your orders are to train the Flame Wardens to become the 143rd Darkwind Jet Assault Regiment.
Jet 143rd Jar.
And your 3 survivors, Suprenza, Rat, and Moon, are all being promoted to sergeants and given a commiserate bump in pay as well.
We used names and everything to make sure that nobody died.
I was just gonna say, I thought did we save all 3 of them?
Yes, they're all alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember how exactly.
One had a fake.
I know one got really messed up.
Yeah, Suprenza has a full name now. Yes.
Yeah.
It was Jet Assault what?
Jet Assault Regiment. Because they can't say Elysian drop troopers because the Elysians will blow up their ship.
I penciled in because I didn't know if you'd already had a name. I penciled in the Darkwind drop troopers.
Okay, we can call it that if you want to. If you want to send back, you know what? Let's make it a roll. If you want to make a bureaucracy roll, if you want to have Velamris do it to correct the name, love it. Let's do it. Let's get it on paper.
I would definitely go find Velamris and be like, look, I'm not exactly sure what form I need to use for this. Oh, but I think it would really recognize the sacrifices of those that came before us if we called
absolutely
the 143rd Darkwind.
I agree.
Drop troopers.
Let's go figure out what paperwork we need here. And I come back like an hour later with 3 different forms that all need to be filled out.
Okay. It's, I think logic, unless you have another. Oh, I have 7 messages on Discord from Spoon right now. I can't look at them. I'm so sorry. I'll have to wait till the break.
Yeah.
Am I doing this?
Wrong dash explanation. Wrong dash.
If James wasn't on all my shows, I assume that's what it would look like when I run a show.
Do I get to make the same kind of roll I did before? +1 SL with advantage? Do I get lucky?
You're asking for my help?
Well, I'm assuming I'm going to get the advantage because of my data delving.
Sure. If you ask Sister Holly to help you with this, you will get a +1 SL. Otherwise, the answer is no.
Well, don't we already help? We all already have influence with Chaderius. I'm assuming that's where
you're not technically petitioning Chaderius about this. You're petitioning the bureaucracy of the trading house.
Okay. In that case, then I may refer to my boss, my new pro tem boss.
Yes, temporary advisor. Until a properly trained supervisor can be.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely a paperwork moment.
It's a first among equals situation.
I'll help you, but I have something I need from you as well in a moment. So you can do this roll first, and I'll be asking you for also help.
Perfect. I love a good bargain on a Rogue Trader show. That's a failure, my friend.
I will spend a fate point to bump that. Is that an option?
Yes.
Yeah, to a 0.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. All right. I feel like getting a 0 is barely crossing the line. I think that the paperwork is immaculate and it gets to the desk just in time. Like you send it
shows up at 3:59 p.m.
Yeah, and it gets to a functionary who's on the ship, the Darkwind, and he's like, and so I proclaim it. He's got like this huge stamp. It's a green stamp. It's got green ink on it, and he's like, the Jet Assault Regiment, and then like a servitor puts a new piece of paper down in front of him and he slams the new piece of paper and says, yes, what I meant was the 143rd Darkwind Drop Regiment. Approved. He pulls the stamp off and this perfectly glistening approved, but the O is replaced with a Imperial skull. And he's like, sick, I love my chop. And then he puts the stamp back in a servitor whose entire torso has been replaced with like an inkwell for the stamp and like a little arm that comes out of his torso to hold the stamper.
He has that spongy stamp pad. So he can soak up the ink.
Yeah.
So I'd like to put in a request.
Okay.
That in light of, I guess, the increased responsibility this team is taking on, that rather than being the acquisitions team, we become the mergers and acquisitions team, the M&A team. And that pursuant to that, we would like to requisition a legal aid into the team. I'm happy that if they're hiring a legal aid to replace the upchain in legal, that we'll take their second best candidate. I think that we would benefit from having a legal dog's body in our team as well.
Okay, interesting. I
could certainly put the paperwork together for all that.
Okay, let's do it. Let's make that roll. You'll get the +1 success level and all of that advantage. We're really, really cooking your logic here today, Velamris. We're blowing through the fate at the last second, huh? Yes, we are.
I'm gonna re-roll that one.
But you could spend both points of fate, I believe.
I'm just gonna reroll.
Okay.
Hey.
Yeah. +5. I think we get Malofo or whatever his name is.
No, I don't want him. I want someone we can kick around.
Yeah,
The person
you
that
don't want an
replaces his
executive
position.
vice president being your point of contact.
Yeah, you want some eager young new starter that is desperate to please, especially if they're from legal. if they know what they're doing, they're from legal. They'll just sit on every single email.
Okay, so this is what you get back after you fill out the paperwork. You are not being made into a mergers and acquisitions team. Your group is officially being promoted up the ladder from acquisitions into the Rogue Trader's extended coterie. You're not part of his bridge crew. You're not part of his war band. You're part of his deployable security and acquisitions team. So the DSA teams. You've been added to that, and that is your job upon the light of dawn. Your training process will be cleaning out the dark holds on your trip to wherever the next destination is. Where could it be? Only people who read the part of the stream where I fucked up and showed my notes, or anyone who watched the campaign creation video.
So
you're being assigned a new legal aid. He is the new lowest ranked person in the company. His name is Luther, and his job is to follow you around and get you whatever you need. So he's not just your legal person. He's also your
personal
gopher.
assistant.
Yes, he's your personal assistant. While you're on the light of dawn, you're being assigned a wing of quarters. You will have your own table in the cafeteria. They have a very strict way of things about there because the light of dawn is technically a consecrated transport ship that's also a shrine to Sister Dawn Latenya, the living saint.
Nice.
While you are on board, you're also being assigned a choir of 12 women pure of mind, body, and soul who will follow Sister Holly around and sing hymnals for the team to inspire you in whatever you're doing. Whether it's writing paperwork or whether it's clearing out the dark hold or whether it's sleeping, they will be providing musical accompaniment at all times. They have taken a vow of singing and can only communicate when when more than one of them is singing as well. So it requires at least two of them to talk at any time.
When we need to be stealthy, they'll sing a sneaking song to help us out.
Exactly. You understand how bards work? Yes.
AP, I have two things.
Yes.
And the second one may or may not, you may or may not want to have that conversation right now. First, Luther. Velamris is going to want to find, it doesn't have to necessarily be anything special, but at least adequate body armor and a weapon.
Are you paying for it?
Yes, I will.
All right. Luther.
And the reason, and my justification when I have him fill out all the paperwork to reimburse me is for his own protection while following us around wherever we may go, doing whatever we may need him to do. He's going to need his own protection.
Luther has a bolt pistol, and he's got like not enforcer armor. He's got like Arbute's armor on that's clearly like too big for him. He's fidgeting around with it. He's probably like 16 years old, really pale, red cheeks. He's got his hair in a crew cut. His helmet is too loose for him, and he's wearing the strap, even though it's too loose. It's like, so I'm Luther. Yeah. Well, my dad was a lawyer, and his dad was a lawyer before him, and so I applied to be a lawyer at the local area, and they referred me to the Rogue Trader, and the Rogue Trader group hired me on the spot, so I'm really glad to be here. I can't believe how much money you're paying for this equipment. I've never had so much expensive stuff on me in my life. He holds his gun up, and
Luther.
He straight up just shoots a hole in the wall when he accidentally pulls the trigger on the bolt pistol.
I don't know who's going to react first. Is it going to be Rassie or Velamris? He's going to slap him first.
Steel shards. Oh, God. He's still waving the gun around while he's like,
No, he's not. I'm slapping that shit. I'm going to slap him. I'm going to take the damn gun from him. I'm going to make sure it's not safe before I set it down.
These. I didn't go to the Pergina.
Okay. First, calm down.
Okay.
Breathe.
Sorry, who are you?
I'm Velamris. You're going to be working very closely with me.
Okay, you're the team leader. Sister Velamris Quineel.
No.
Oh, okay, because I thought you looked a little strange for a sister.
I would. Yes, I'm not a sister. That's
just
Sister
that we
Holly
don't
over
have a
there.
habit.
Anyway, first, we'll get you trained. I'll have my friend Rassie take care of you on training you and making sure you're good to go. Secondly, your first task today, I'm filing this as an expense for business purposes.
Okay.
This weapon and this armor.
Understood.
So I need you to put that together.
Right.
And get it sent off.
I assume we want, not just reimbursement, but also find some way to make it into a sort of tax creditable.
If it makes it look good for the Lord Captain's ledgers, do it.
Okay, and when we're getting reimbursement from the company, do we want to put some aside for ourselves, or do we want to just do
listen, everything needs to be above board. Above board.
Understood.
Keep it clean.
You don't do it like my dad. Okay.
No, we need to 10 out of 10 the walking fraud machine.
So just to be clear, his first actions on joining the team were shoot a hole in the wall and
start setting me up for fraud.
Tax fraud against your own company.
No, we don't do that here.
It's the first day on the job. You make a big move.
We don't cheat anybody in the trading house. We cheat everybody around us.
Okay, I got it. I'm learning company values as I go along. This is real great. He walks over to you, Rassie, and he says, "How's it going, Mr. Raz?" He holds out his left hand for you to shake.
You can call me Lieutenant.
Okay. I'm not really a member of the military, so I don't know that I need to address you by rank, but okay, Lieutenant. I mean, is that appropriate? Should I be calling you Lieutenant? Should I be saluting you?
No.
Okay. Was that no to the salute or no to calling you Lieutenant?
I think Rassie will turn.
Am I part of the Imperial Guard now?
Rassie will turn and walk away. And he's trying really hard not to laugh. He just turns and walks away.
So he looks at Sister Holly and he says, "Okay, so I'm going to assume that you're Sister Holly then."
That's correct, yes.
Okay. I'm Luther. I'm joining the team.
Welcome aboard. I turn around and walk away.
He turns and looks at Velamris and he goes, "Should I go get my gun?"
Velamris is already hit deep in some paperwork with the "don't talk to me" look.
Okay. He walks over, he very carefully picks up the handle of his gun and he tries to get it into his shoulder holster, and then he's using two hands to get it in there. And he's like, "Okay.
Go fill out that. Give me the weapon. We're not.
Okay,
don't leave. Don't go anywhere."
Holster off and hands it to you.
Good idea. And I'm gonna double check to make sure it's still on safe, and then go fill out that expense paperwork.
I don't know that Imperial weapons have a safety on them. I'm gonna be
they've
honest.
got to have some sort of safety mechanism.
I've not closely analyzed
anywhere,
pictures in books, but I don't know that Imperial weapons have safeties.
Let's
Someone who
just
reads
assume
novels
they
would
do.
need to tell me.
They mentioned in the Rogue Trader video game that somebody's Meltagun safety was off.
Okay, all right. If it's in the Rogue Trader video game, that's canon enough for me. All right.
I also think they probably walk around with their weapons out of battery so they can definitely rack the action as the first.
Yes, of course.
You gotta have that shock value. The second thing, and I don't know if this is the best time, so I'll bring you the topic.
Okay.
Is the motivation for Velamris going into the Dark Holds, on a personal level.
Oh, you're not talking to Luther, you're talking to me.
Yeah. So he has those 2 points of corruption, and one way to get rid of that is through some sort of, holy quest, basically. Mm-hmm. And especially since we're on a ship dedicated or blessed by the sister Dawn Latenya, this is absolutely going to play into him. He was already figuring, my plan was already to have him go to a church or something and try to get the motivation or the impetus there. Dude. But the fact that we're on this ship is even more inviting for Velamris to dive into that, wade through the bowels of the darkest parts of the ship.
You seek religious counsel on board the ship for how you might purify yourself of corruption.
Yes. Well, that was my intent. But again, the conversation for that out of character, I wasn't sure if you wanted to do all that. So
we'll definitely do it in part of the first episode of The Darkholds.
Sure. Yeah, I just didn't know how you wanted to fit that into everything. But that was I think that's the only other thing I've got for Velamris is making sure this dude, now I got to pay for gun lessons. He's going to file an expense report for that too.
Gun lessons. You have to requisition gun lessons.
Have him get hooked up with the 143rd Drop Troopers instructor.
I believe you mean the Darkwind Drop Regiment. The DDRs.
The DDR, yeah.
They're all highly trained in dancing and synchronized.
It's synchronized gunplay. What is it, like that movie with Christian Bale, Gung Fu or whatever?
Oh my god!
Equilibrium.
I have no idea what you're talking about. It sounds amazing.
Yeah. Equilibrium. It's fun. That's what I'll say. It's a fun movie. Yeah.
Is it Gamer where Gerard Butler encounters a group of people being puppeted by a dude who's doing a dance sequence? That's what I always think of when people talk about dancing with guns.
So there's a director named Kurt Wimmer who did 2 films. He did Equilibrium, he did Ultraviolet. Equilibrium is great, Ultraviolet's terrible. But one of the concepts in both films is like the concept of taking gunplay to a almost like a choreographed version where it puts the most bullets in the most possible, where the most assailants are likely to be in the shortest time possible. So
I
definitely want to go and see Inquisitor Decker. So Investigator Decker before we leave as well.
Investigator Decker takes his hat off, just puts a pilgrim hat on with an inquisitorial seal. It's like, yep, I've been an inquisitor the whole time. Don't know how you could have guessed that. You go to see Decker, you can see that his desk is covered in paperwork. He's still working on that judge thing from before.
Yeah.
He doesn't know you. He does know you personally screwed him on. Not you personally.
No, does he?
But the company.
He might
because you sent
it.
somebody in there to bribe the judge at the last second.
Okay. I guess maybe I didn't quite.
So the trading house, not the sister.
He doesn't know that you personally.
Yeah.
He just kind of grunts and looks up from his desk in the bullpen and says, "What is it?"
I know it's been a while since we spoke, but I had some progress for you on the matter of the Wrathful Righteous. I understand that my boss may have messed up some things for you, and so I put it on him to see if there's a way to try and bring this back, because he wants to maintain good relations with the Arbites, and because of that, he's told me that he will be removing the Wrathful Righteous from the station going forward, so that they will no longer be a threat to order and stability here. These are things that are very important to Lord Captain Chaderius Darkwind, and he wants to make sure that this station is supported in everything it needs.
Stands up. He turns to Brood, so he's in profile. Pulls out a low stick.
Low stick.
I'm trying to make sure I wasn't saying the Star Wars one.
Death stick.
Yep, they're pretty close. He lights it in front of you. Cool jazz music starts playing. Like bum, ba, bum, ba. Ever since you walked into my office, you've been a real pain in the ass. But I can tell you've been looking out for my best interests here. It takes a lot for someone like you to go to your boss, solve a problem for an investigator like me. Now, I can put a meritorious citation in your record, or I can do you a favor in the future.
I didn't come here for a reward. Serving the Imperium is its own reward. If I can help you in the future... He slams his
hand against a cubicle wall, and he's like, damn it. Yeah. Why are the good ones always sisters? Fine. Just walk out of here. Just go. Go and take your holiness with you.
All right. I'll leave him to his own internal monologue as I walk out.
He struggles with thoughts of vengeance, anger, and also, strangely, attraction as he sucks down on his low stick, wondering how he got here in this moment.
That was the last time I saw that broad. She walked out of my office. The stars outside the viewport glittered like diamonds on velvet.
I'm pretty sure when you look outside his viewport, all you see is more rock. But okay,
it's more offices.
If you want to get poetical about it, you can write down that an Arbites investigator owes you a favor if you want to.
Sure. I mean, I've got him as an influence anyway. So
yes.
Sounds like +1 influence. Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
Favor is not the same thing as +1 influence.
Yeah.
This is like scrub you of a traffic ticket from double parking in front of the Imperial Governor's mansion, not like murder or something.
No.
It's a small thing.
Not embracing someone like a Christian. No.
All right, so we're gonna go on break, and when we come back, it's gonna be the end of season 1. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. Before I rush this along too much, it seems like Kain wants to get in on the end of season 1 party, so hardly would be anything less than rude to not skip past it. So let's do it. What do you got?
I think while the paperwork was being done for the attempt at being mergers and acquisitions, Rassie's going to go look for, probably don't have to look very hard, for the servo skull.
I mean, it's always there. It's always watching. When you go up to
there it is.
Yeah, when you go up to the servo skull says to you, "Hey, what's going on, man?"
Given some things that I've recently started to remember.
Yeah.
I'm obviously not going to ask for any details because it's not my place to know what I'm not to know.
Sorry, I just want to be really clear here. Am I supposed to be passing this along to the girl on the other end, or are you talking to me specifically?
Let's go with the girl who's usually on the other end.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, sorry. I thought you were talking to me. Okay. Now, just to be clear, Rassie, servo skulls don't normally talk.
Yeah, he's trying really hard not to panic.
Sentient. The servo skull kind of like resumes like looking at you, and it's waiting for you to say something.
Oh, okay. That was a little odd, but anyways, I'm obviously not asking for any details. The things that I'm not supposed to know, I will not know. But my lieutenant, did I do a good job for him?
You hear a voice behind you. Like you hear something drop down behind you, and then you hear a voice say, "Don't turn around."
He doesn't turn around.
That's how it works, Shapes, just in case you're wondering. Now that's a fucking reference.
Didn't say, don't make a move.
You hear her voice say, "You have done what you were trained since birth to do on behalf of the Inquisition. You are a weapon created to destroy the enemies of humanity. And you have served your inquisitors well. Enough. Service does not end until after death."
Of course. I would like a tool to fight this new enemy. I couldn't do anything to stop him. I need to be more of that weapon.
You don't hear anything from behind you.
He's made his request. He doesn't expect a response. He'll wait a little bit, and then he'll he won't turn around to walk away. He'll turn to the side and just leave whatever room he's in.
Okay. You leave the servo skull. The camera stays on the servo skull. The skull turns to look at the audience and goes, I would have thought he'd make a bigger deal out of me talking, but okay, I guess I'll see you guys in the next season.
I thought he was going to say, what'd you say? I was getting a drink.
I think at some point during
in Rassie's head, there's definitely a part of Rassie's mind that is panicking over the fact that the servo skull talk, but at the same time is like, this is an inquisitorial skull. I don't even know who I could talk about this with. I'm going to go with nobody for now and try to just keep my shit together.
I think we have a something of a AP, you're muted.
Don't worry, you're better off.
I want a petition that during the cut or the end credits that there's maybe like a still shot, like it's not moving, it's just a still image of Velamris, and he's got like a kind of not necessarily a blueprint, but he's got a print of some sort, and it's a servo skull, and you see he's got a stencil, and he's putting it on there, like trying to make it fit around this, not really a technical readout of the servo skull, but it says conscience. As if he wants to name the servo skull.
Interesting.
But then he realizes this is probably heresy of some sort, so he's going to let her burn it.
You could wait until the end credits to do the end credit scene, you know?
It's just a still image, that's all.
I think otherwise, during this in-between time where people are wrapping things up or whatever, like he does his talk there, but Rassie is very upset with himself over the capture of our Rogue Trader's guest. He's taken the fact that he could not stop E very personally, even though part of him knows that he didn't have a chance to do it.
You know,
but between
us,
anything he could do.
Above the table, we can call him Erasmus Harlock.
Sure.
We can't summon him into our reality.
Yeah, it's just like, it's all the stuff going on in his head. So, okay. His head thought sees E. So he's probably like pacing around the compound, just trying to keep moving and finding reports to look at or something, looking at equipment, going through the stuff, the Elysian equipment that he reacquired.
So I think in the background we see Rat, Saprenza, and Moon are going through like the basics of what they should be teaching the Flame Wardens, which is the like nickname they're giving to all of the Wrathful Righteous core group that's joining them. And they're walking through like, don't get married to a stripper on the weekends, always wear uniform socks, like don't bring socks from home, wear the socks we give you, always have a dry pair of socks, like shit like that. Everything they've been told by a sergeant in their lifetime, they're trying to remember it and regurgitate it because they don't know how to be sergeants. They keep coming back to that don't get married to a stripper on a weekend, though, which, in retrospect, your Elysian drop trooper sergeants did tell you that basically every weekend, sometimes more than once on a Friday night.
He'll go check on them.
Okay. Anything else we want to do in this time period? The three of you with Luther attend the funeral of Liturgical and the others who have died. It is being presided over by, oh gosh, what is this guy's name? The dude who ended up winning the title of leadership of the religion because you eliminated all of his competitors and then refused the call.
He was the guy that came to arbitrate it, right?
Yes, yeah. I don't know that I have it written down where I can find it, but we know who I'm talking about. Like, he's there, but in the end, it's really being, like, he's there for the religious and pragmatic, but the Lord Captain is the one, Chaderius Darkwind is the one who is giving the, like, this was my team ceremony. A man moves to stand beside the three of you. I think Rassie, to some extent, you recognize this guy. He looks totally different without his Space Marine armor. I mean, it's like a 7.5 foot tall, super jacked dude who's wearing a laurel wreath and like tank top and shorts. Who's I mean, he's a Space Marine. He's ginormous. He's super jacked. He's also like incredibly handsome. He's got like brown hair that he's frosted tip dyed, and he's got like a tattoo of a purity seal on one of his arms.
It's awesome.
But he's carrying a cup of tea perfectly, and when he walks like someone who was trained in ballet from a very young age. He has a inherent nobility about him, even in his extreme casualness. And he's like towering over the rest of you. He absolutely is towering over Rassie, who is like half this guy's size. This guy could eat you for breakfast. And he says, so this is the new team I'll be looking over. I am Mercutio Borghese.
It's good to see you again, my lord.
It is good to see you as well. Sister Holly, yes. I see that you found your messenger, Rassie.
Indeed.
Mr. Quineel.
My lord.
He puts a massive hand on your shoulder. I understand you're one of the newest acquisitions to the team. Don't worry. I'll make sure that nothing happens to you, probably. I'll be here to audit your team and determine an evaluation score for you during your foray into the dark holds of the Light of Dawn. It's nothing you haven't encountered before, violent psychopathic mutants. I've seen your team's file, and I expect that all of you will come out the far side very well. You must understand that our rogue trader, while he might like to play favorites and promote people very quickly, they do need to earn their place in the organization in everyone's eyes. So, you'll need to work your way up. I would say maybe next season you could earn your way onto his flagship, the Darkwind, and maybe in a potential third season, you might even become members of his personal warband or bridge crew. That sort of thing. You know, he says, winking at the camera.
I think I speak for all of us when I say, my lord, that we are all looking forward to this endeavor.
He goes to stand in front of Luther and he says, and you, Luther, and he claps his massive hands on Luther's shoulders. It's physically, he keeps picking him up and shaking him, and he says, and you, I want you to promise me that you're never going to pull that weapon out of its holster. And he goes, of course, my lord! You're hurting me! And he goes, no, I'm not hurting you, young man.
Not yet.
He goes, Luther goes, I don't understand, but okay, my lord! At this point, you get the sort of lights flashing, and it's clear that it's time for the funeral to begin. And standing at the pulpit, the rogue trader, Chaderius Darkwind, says, time. It's the currency we spend our lives on. Our fates ride from moment to moment, from one to the next, spent in the name of our God Emperor, and they are driven forward, like an arrow, by time. At the end of all things, time runs out. Fate, faith, service, all mortal things come to a conclusion, as the Emperor wills it. We gather here today to say goodbye to those whose time has run out. Their service has ended, their voices and faith fall silent. They are the best of us, martyrs all in an unending war in service against the enemy. Their souls ride upon the fated winds now to our God above, and so we must see them off. Maybe not the highest among them, but most dear to me is my fallen psyker, Liturgical. Like many witches, he was a troubled man beset by dark powers. Like all of us, his fate was decided when he was young, guided by the bureaucracy of the Imperium. His life, his very soul, was heated like hot metal and smashed upon the anvil of a god, reforged anew into a blazing sword for me to wield against my enemies. The sword is quenched, the fire all but gone now, taken by the enemy. But I remember his service. Liturgical saved many lives during his time here. All of you now may owe some part of your life to his calls for aid and his directions here to this lost place. His cries into an infinite dark filled with evil altered the fate of worlds and brought us through time to this very moment. All of us serve, but not all of us live, through backbreaking labor, soul-crushing labor, because it is our duty. I hold this one up as an example of one who goes beyond service, who goes beyond life. One can only hope to be as pivotal as this one, as the doomed child of our God. But there is light in the darkness that attempts to snuff us out, for the enemy cannot snuff out our faith, our service, or our time. Already, a plan is in works to rally the fleet here and to move everyone to the safety of Titan's Lair. Jobs await you on board my ships as your new life and your service awaits you at our journey's end. Have no fear, for this is the path which God has laid before you, and you shall walk it. For Father Firebrain has agreed to enter into my service as a faith militant. His Frateris militia has been rebranded the Flame Wardens and will serve as my shock troops, the first line of assault against the Xenos and the Strange. And for those gathered Frateris militia who cannot serve among the Flame Wardens, the Navy will provide you transit to many worlds and many places, where your timely reinforcement may, like liturgical, give you an opportunity to spend your lives, your faith, and your souls in time. So let us honor the honored dead and rise once more to meet the challenges of the day. And at that point, everyone raises up a goblet which has been handed out, which seems to be partially wine and partially human blood. You're also given a skull to hold in your left hand because it's an imperial cult ceremony. And then, drink all of it. Say goodbye to your former supervisor.
Just out of interest, when he first said the federal's name, did he have a look at like a little palm card?
Yes, he did. he had it written on his head, Okay. And he started sweating on it. But once he got going, he remembered.
Yeah.
I love how every time I'm like, and this rogue traitor got his warrant of service from the Lord Commander of the Imperium. James is like, he's never met that guy. Every single time I'm like, great and fortuitous things has happened. This is what it must be like when I am playing with another game master. So that is the end of season 1 here. All of you gain a point of fate because you have helped stabilize this Space Hulk and this situation. So your fate score goes up by 1, and you may select a new boon from your patron. I'm also going to offer you an alternative boon where you replace your drop squad of Navis Imperialis Security, aka Suprenza Moon and Rat, with a volunteer squad of blanks from the Hand of Calixus.
Well, they're there for Rassie, so I guess that's up to Kain. That's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Well, the boons are for the whole group.
Yeah.
And you don't need to pick right now, but you should also note that your payment grade will increase by 1 step from standard to whatever the next one is.
That's not marked on the character sheet, is it?
No, I normally just tell you how much money you make, but...
Well, no, the grade or whatever.
No, it's not. It may be recorded on the
rogue trader?
On the rogue trader. I'm not sure.
You are now a patron payment grade good, and you receive 200 solars a day.
Weren't we already at 200?
No, you were at 100 a day.
Okay. I don't think I'm the only player, but I know I definitely had as a long-term goal resolving the Space Hulk crisis.
Yeah, I had moved the operation to. It was actually, I think it was just to get it off the Archipelago. What was it described as? Prepare to move the operation from Archipelago.
Yeah, I'd say you accomplished that. Go ahead and take that. So what did you have specifically?
I had resolved the Space Hulk crisis, and since we are apparently moving everyone, no problem. Okay.
What's the short-term goal benefit again?
50. I believe it's 50.
So
I get neither.
but you can accomplish your long-term goal now because you have troops to train, and when you think the replacements are ready, your long-term goal will be finished.
That's true.
And when you tell me it's done, I will give you my evaluation of how good the troops actually are.
They're going to be rated green. No, don't listen to me.
Great, because when the rogue trader drops them into combat and they all fall out of the sky and die on the way down, someone's going to take the blame.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm doing the best thing I can do for current or former military, which is to give them an open-ended task that they must evaluate when it's finished. And they will be graded on a specific rubric. No one will tell you what that rubric is.
Remind me, so that the features of the rogue trader, the boons they already had, other than the standard void ship boon, were drop squad and martial training facility. Was that correct?
And I believe connoisseur, which means that you have mastercrafted or ornamental trading quality when you are buying things.
Okay. No, I completely forgot that when I bought things.
Yeah, it was like it made it easier for us to get the higher quality armors and stuff, I think.
You have advantage on availability tests when interacting with your patron. I think that means when you buy directly from him.
I find things like when you're in a patron, you have availability tests and always have the opportunity to acquire equipment to be the mastercraft for. Okay, cool. So we got that.
What page is the books on?
They start on page 30 or 29. But we've got the options we've got are air support, which is we can get atmospheric craft.
That may be of some value to you on Titan's Lair. You're not going to be stuck in a small little place there.
Cartography of contacts is you can get void maps and free void travel. Sorry. Contrabandist, which is you can get black market goods at half the price. Ideologue Crusader, which I think we ruled out originally, was like when they're a hardcore. I don't see that for our rogue trader. Opulent means that we increase the payment grade by 1 step, which we already had. Refined Panoply means that we have advantage to find armor specifically, and all armor is halved in cost. And Registered Trader, where we're going to acquire trade records, secure passage on trade vessels, and anything we buy has a 10% discount.
10%
multiplied by your highest influence modifier.
Yeah, that's right.
Could be up to +3.
Yeah.
So up to +30 or up to 30% discount.
So if you take opulent, that will increase you to.
We have it, don't we?
No, we don't.
Not opulent.
We jump up again in payment grade. I think based upon where we're going, air support or registered trader.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
Now this new boon, the volunteer blank squad from the Calexis would be
it replaces drop squad. Yes.
So us choosing that we would not get a new boon. We would instead be choosing to change a boon, or can we do both?
No, if you do that, it's basically like an improved version of drop squad.
But we still get the extra boon though, yeah?
No. That it is its own thing. It will remove your available boon and replace drop squad with improved drop squad, essentially. You won't have another one to spend.
This is my thought. I say stick with the squad that we already have. Soprenza, Rat, and
Moon.
Mm-hmm. Because narratively, it makes sense for them to still be there. It doesn't, to me, in my opinion, it doesn't make a lot of narrative sense to suddenly have a squad of blanks show up. And also on top of that, the blank connection really only applies to Rassie.
Here's my devil's advocate just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got these 1,000 flame wardens. So it would make sense that in order to keep that training regimen going, that the 3 that we would be dropping are probably going to become full-time instructors
and not be generally available for us, right?
Right, and And in the description, those blanks are volunteers from the hands of Calexis.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be like we went shopping. It's volunteers who decided to join the mission.
So to be clear, the Hand of Calixtus is temporarily joining the Chaderius Darkwind fleet while options are being made for recovery of their primogenitor.
I think that as far as Holly's concerned, we've got one too many blanks already.
I mean, not to be as blunt as James, I kind of agree. Not so much that Rassie is too many, but just I don't know. I personally also like the idea of those three that we already kind of have an established history with, narratively speaking. Again, this is strictly my opinion, though. I also think that the registered trader or the air support are better options than taking on a squad of blanks, unless we happen to feel like unless we know that we're about to run into a fuck ton of bad guy psychers. The blanks are just, I mean, granted, they could, just because they're blanks doesn't mean they can't shoot a gun, but.
Well, here's a question.
I would like to try to get Pierre Cowles back, and that would probably involve some shenanigans that blanks would be helpful for.
Oh, absolutely. I think once we get to that point, then the blank squad is an avenue that we can approach. But that, again, this is just me thinking out loud, and my opinion's not necessarily a final answer.
So here's the question. What type of world for the market availability would Titans Lair count as?
I think Forge World.
Okay, which is the highest availability.
I mean, they make Titans.
Yep.
So that also means a lot of the stuff we might want is going to be more readily available. Is that right?
Yeah. So I think getting advantage on tests is probably, when scarce gear is 90%, I think that the advantage is minimal bonus. 45% is a decent one, but I think that it's the discount side is nice, but I think that we get money anyway, and it can be gated how fast we get new gear by controlling the money. So I almost think that air support would be a better thing for us. As part of our what do we call DSA or no was it DSTA? No, it was
the drop troopers or our team.
No, for us,
specific team. The
deployable security and acquisitions team. DSAT.
You know what? Sorry, go ahead, James.
I'd have to have access to like a planetary flyer for that. In the same way we had like the car we drove around in on the Archipelago, to have like some sort of small planetary flyer or gunship.
Armored, half-tracked, not really a FedEx truck.
If you pick air support, it's going to be a Valkyrie drop shuttle. The Elysian drop trooper one.
I think, especially the way James broke down the way the registered trader may affect us, is that I think the air support one's going to be potentially the better option, because he's right. We get money anyway. I mean, we work for a rogue trader. That particular benefit or boon would be really cool for those who don't already have a major financial backer. Random people doing street level stuff all the time, but we work for a rogue trader, so money isn't as much of a problem for us. So yeah, I think my vote would be for the air support.
Look, I don't want to try and influence the group at all.
It ain't me. It ain't me. I'm not
We gotta have fortune. You know what? We should name it Fortunate Son too.
No, it's the Fortunate Shuttle.
So someone's done a version called Fortunate Git, which is like orcs sing it as they go into combat.
We certainly cannot call it Saturday the 14th or Sunday the 15th, right, Kain?
Wow.
No, we can't.
That sounds horrible.
Well, my character is the minimum possible intelligence, and he thought it was a good idea to back that up.
It's like when Big Spoon was like, let's call it Lucky Number 13, and then it actually turned out to rule. Amazing.
I mean, it sounds like we've got 2 votes for air support and 1 for the blanks, and I'm happy with the consensus. So
okay, you get a Valkyrie drop shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
According to this, it's armed with frag or crack missiles, or you can have it be like heavy bolters. So whatever, James will tell us what a Valkyrie's normally armed with, I guess.
Yeah, It normally has a multi-laser and storm strike missiles, and then it has the optional heavy bolters out the sides, like door gun.
Door gunners.
We'll say it's unless you want to.
We got to have the door gunners, man. Come on.
Unless you want to have the door gunner show up, it'll normally just fire the storm strike missiles from long range.
Yeah.
It does say you can trade it in to make the nature of the airstrike change. So
here we go. So multi-laser. Missiles.
Yep.
There we go. See?
I think if we're using it as a transport, it should have the door gunners. If we're using it for airstrike specifically, then it's going to be loaded with all the other stuff. That's just my opinion. And maybe we can make it multi-mission. I don't know.
He's already rewiring it to become a fighter bomber, air transport. It's also
like the Russians did with the Hind.
Yeah, right. It's an F-35 now.
I like the idea of Rassie on a door gun while we're like going into an area, just giggling maniacally.
He said giggling.
Get some.
Don't lead him as much.
Just a bunch of Skitari running around like, no, why are you shooting at us? Someone's just like, are we being attacked? And they're like, no, those are our allies. He's just excited to use the door gun.
If they run, they're heretics. If they don't run, they're well-trained heretics.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's the reference.
Oh, I have a real world story for that I can't say while we're recording.
Right.
No, let's say the war crimes will post show, shall we?
Awesome.
Canada would like to know your location.
Army Criminal Investigation Unit to show up in my house. Whatever that thing's called. Take another 50 XP for reaching the end of the episode. For anyone that didn't get any, other goals or anything. And, we've got like 20 minutes here if you guys wanted to talk about how you felt the season went. Any, like, rules changes or mechanics changes you'd like to see.
So do we have any downtime where I can downtime action? I want to downtime action to convert my
months of transit between.
Yeah, because I do want to translate my 3 contacts into a permanent influence post for the
Is that consolidation or something like that.
Consolidation. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Isn't there one to try to find someone to get specialty stuff?
Yeah. There's specialist.
It's not investment. It's artisan or something silly like that. What page is the?
They start on page 230.
Between missions,
229.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's commission to get specific gear.
That's the one I was thinking of. I couldn't think of the word.
There's crafting, and then with commission it tell you that occasionally you may need to use the what's it called, consult savant, in order to get like the, to find the person that can actually make something which is particularly rare. So yeah, so commission. If you want to get exotic gear, you need to do it through commission, but you might need to find a savant first that can actually make it.
AP. Can I do the scout surroundings to give us advantage or some other benefit as per the rules for the Darkholds? Is that an option?
So. No. I think scouting the Darkholds is the whole point of the Darkholds miniseries.
No, but you can scout the decks above and hope that it uses like a prefab design where clearly there's a bulkhead.
It's graded flooring so you can see through.
Yeah.
Fucking Grimdark James is out here with his NLP bullshit. Fine. You can have your scouted deck. I assume, you know what it is? It's your post-credit scene where you're looking over the consciousness of the servo skull, and then you move the thing away and you have the perfect deck plans of the light of dawn because you're such a fucking Dawn Latenya simp.
I am.
They let you have access to the secret records.
And it was conscience that he wanted to spray paint like on the back of the servo skull.
Okay.
But I'm sure that's heretical
what
in some way.
What happens in the post-credit scene is that you're trying to spray paint the servo skull, and he goes, "Hey, buddy, what are you fucking doing here? You think you can just spray paint me?" And you're like,
"Yeah, that's exactly what Velamris would tweet." It's like, this motherfucker ain't supposed to be talking.
That is the last scene.
Yeah. That's one hell of a theft deterrent system you got there. And I'm gonna bolt.
I'm just wondering if there's a way that I can turn one of these endeavors into his quest to find something to fight Harlock with.
So sorry, what was the name of our watcher again? I'm put in my notes.
Space Marine Mercutio Borghese of the Brazen Consuls. He's vaguely French-Italian in every way, but only in a like classical Roman Empire way, not in a like European way. Not in a like real European, in a like the way we imagine Europe at the height of its power, sort of way.
Not in a way that would appeal to 6 out of 38 of your viewers.
Instead, it will apply. It will appeal to 100% of men who think about the Roman Empire every day. With his laurel wreath. I did love that meme. I'm sad that died out, where it was like, how often do men think of the Roman Empire? And I'm like, I'm a Crusader Kings 3 player, baby. I always think of the Roman Empire. I'm thinking about it right now.
Some of these are really hard to make when your character's really dumb.
Damn, that sucks.
I think that's a logic roll. Oof.
Navigation tests and intelligence lore tests for the dark holds of the Dawn of Light, Light of Dawn, whatever the name of the ship is, we'll have advantage on for the next however many sessions it takes.
Yeah, there's no reason to learn the name of the ship that I've said several times. It's the Light of Dawn, a character.
I have it written down. I just said it backwards.
Name the name of the okay, you got it. No, you did it right.
No, I did it. No, I didn't.
What name was supposed to do? Oh yeah, okay.
I almost fucked it up.
But you said it correctly as far as I can tell.
Close enough.
Maybe you said it too fast for Dunamis.
You get it just in time for us leaving it.
Iron Archipelago.
Right, yes. It's only been 20 sessions that we've been here.
Yeah.
Now you have to learn to say Titan's Lair.
That's easy. Titan's Lair.
All right, Duolingo, you got him.
Hell, I couldn't say skull and whatever the hell earlier.
Turbo Skull?
One of my worst language translation things was I picked up an RPG many years ago, and it had like it was a modern RPG, and it had prices for a bunch of different cars that players could buy, and the most expensive car on the list was a Maserati Quattroporte. And I thought, that sounds cool. Quattroporte, that sounds like a really cool name for a car. I like that, until I looked up and realized it just translated to 4 doors.
I knew it was going to be 4 something for sure.
Great radio.
Yeah, I just don't know. If you recall, what I asked was, do you have any thoughts about the season or rules changes?
Oh,
but it sounds like we're.
I thought we were still on the Endeavors. My bad.
No.
Man, some of the rolls I've made were either really good, or the ones I failed were really funny.
Wow.
Do you want to change the system to stars with that number?
Me? Do I want to change the system? No. No, I'm lying. I want to change every system to start without numbers, James.
Look, I think that the system, it does what it does. It is the latest evolution of a game system, which is 20 plus years old, but it has been evolved. So I have no issue with the system as we've been playing it. I think it's good. I think that I don't think we need to add anything in particular in. I think that it's worked so far. I think that we are hitting the brief that we set with the show, which is a comedy office-based 40K RPG in a system
dark
which is
office comedy,
grimdark office comedy.
Yes, I think we've ticked all those boxes.
Perfect.
I don't think I've run into anything where the rules have made me go, "This is dumb. Why does it work like this?" And every time I've tried to do something dumb, the rules has had some kind of answer for it. So
No, the rules tell you you're dumb. It's Soviet Russia. The rules say you're dumb.
Like after a previous session, I had to actually go and look at some of my models and work out, do crack grenades actually have a pin, or are they just like a button? But no, they all actually have a pin. Okay. Crack grenades are sculpted with a pin on them.
Great, because I'd hate to canonically get that wrong and then have egg on my face.
Well, it was Kain that he pulls a pin on 2 crack grenades.
Sure. So post season, shorts, like when they did the shorts with Chris Hemsworth having a roommate for Avengers, where it's like Thor and Dave or something like that. Yeah, like that is just like a Magos standing around next to Archmagos Dominant Belisarius Cawl, and Call's just like, no, that's not how it works. They use Black Carapace first for Chaos Space. Trust me, I know more about this than any other person alive. They start with the Black Carapace because you got to get it in there early when you've got that mutated gene seed. No, I'm telling you, they don't do it the same way. They do it differently. Trust me. He turns to look at the Magos and he says, I know.
Wow. So I looked him up after our last session because he had been mentioned a couple of times, and I was like, who is this guy? What's so important? And then realized, okay, so he's the one that was there at Cadia and everything else. But then like reading into like his backstory, I'm like, this dude's been around for like literally 10,000 years, has literally gone in and out of the ideas and classifications of heretical because of his artificial intelligence diving, has basically several different copies of many people's brains in a digital format.
Yeah.
Including himself, multiple of himself even.
He gave a copy of himself to Robute Gulamon so that Robute could consult his AI self whenever he was like, I don't know what the fuck. Belisarius said, explain it to me, foul demon trapped in silicon machinery.
But I'm reading through all this, I'm just like,
and also, he made Primaris Marines, which, you know, like, the Emperor was like, damn, I made Space Marines. That's the first step towards making Primarchs and, what's the super Space Custodes, yes, the Primarchs and the Custodes. And Belisarius comes along and is like, hey guys, what's up? I know that our actual god created Space Marines, but have you considered a better Space Marine? I made it up by hacking apart Chaos Space Marines and being like, so what are they doing here? How can I use their mutated gene
I like
seed?
the idea that you're like, I heard this Dave a couple of times. I looked him up and discovered big deal.
So what I'm hearing from AP then is in this setting, which the Space Marines are so fucked up because they do all the implantations backwards.
The Chaos Space Marines, yeah.
The Chaos Space Marines,
they start with Black Carapace first instead of 19th, yeah.
So they merge or they rip before they implant the second heart. That must be really awkward. They harden all their bones before they get them growth hormones.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really difficult. No wonder they're angry.
Nurgle was the one that taught them how to do it, so
yeah.
As much pain as possible. It makes the Slaanesh people very happy.
Corn surgeons.
Corn surgeons, oh my god. They don't even wear aprons. Or nursing or what do doctors wear when they get all suited like surgical gear?
Yeah.
The frocks and whatnot.
Oh, the scrubs.
Yeah, scrubs.
Pass me a size 4 chain scalpel.
Now there's a short series between season 2 and 3 is Cornate surgeons.
You're doing that Cornate hospital drama?
Doctor, he has a skull and blood inside of him. And he goes, no, wait, he could acquire more skulls and blood. And they're like, we'll have to take it to a judge. We need to know whether we got to kill this man and take his skull and blood, or whether he'll bring us in more. Two nurses sneak off to have an affair in a closet, but then one of them kills the other because he's like, I just need skulls and blood, man.
One cares not from where the skulls come.
Sorry, man. Oh, man, I got your blood all over our fresh towels. We're going to have to re-bleach those.
Angry bleaching.
I assume everything in a Cornate hospital is done angrily.
Yeah.
The blood doesn't flow if the blood pressure isn't high.
Wow. Incredible.
There was a bunch of things that happened during the season that were very much like, what is happening right now?
The governorship
still
was so
thing.
stressful for me.
The skull
The
started
Imperial
talking, and
governor?
Noam was like, "We should investigate this more." It's more like, I should do nothing and stare at it.
If it wasn't an Inquisition skull, it probably would have gotten more than silent panic out of Rassie.
Yeah, preparing for that message to send to the Imperial Governor or the Lord
Yeah.
Sector.
Oh my god!
Preparing for that message.
You guys
That
are
was also
losing
very
your
stressful.
minds.
Oh man, it took a Discord call, a handful of messages back and forth. We both basically wrote our parts and then recited them to each other to make sure the things jived. It was like the only thing we didn't do was a full dress rehearsal.
Velamris,
It was like
as Omar, wearing his robes. Kain in full dress uniform. Yep.
It was like one stressful. Oh, this could be really bad for our characters. We're getting that speech together, followed by congratulations. You've walked out of one into another. You're a governor now.
Yeah.
Oh God, no! This is not flying under the radar.
Understood. I mean, look, you know what the song says. You can get what you want and more. All you have to do is ask.
It was a lot of fun. It was very stressful and a lot of fun. I'm a little terrified of what's going to happen on Titan's Lair.
I mean, what could go wrong?
I love AI. I asked ChatGPT to write me a pitch document for a hospital TV drama show set in the Warhammer 40K Universe where all the staff are worshippers of Khorne. And it's giving me a title, tagline, a pitch, main characters, themes, episode breakdown. It's great.
Amazing. Send that to me. That's got to be a fun read. That's got to be a fun read.
Oh, wow.
AP over there face palming right now.
I'm really sad because I forgot to write some of the character names down when I was making the bridge crew. I was like, all right, let's make a bridge crew on the fly. Valeria Stormrider, the captain of the ship. Wade, the ill-tongued, which I didn't make ahead of time. I think I made him up on the spot because it just seemed really meme-worthy. I cannot remember
He was
this other
amazing.
woman's name.
Wade the ill-tongued. That was
so dead.
That was
He's
a really
so dead.
amazing, just secondary, nobody important character.
I love that sort of like. So I've been running a D&D group and I'm using a published module, and there's an established magic item in it, which is a battle axe, the one-made battle axe that its other feature is it gives you advantage on all swim checks, and it has its name carved into it in dwarven runes that, when translated, its name is Bob.
Incredible. Incredible.
Swimming advantage, and his name is Bob. Amazing. Yep. Amazing. And it will, whenever you cast Detect Magic, it just pops up like, I'm magical.
Yep.
All right. Closing thoughts for the people, for our adoring public.
You have to go home, but you can't stay here.
No, why would you have to steal that? Okay, fine. That's it. We're done. We're ending the night. He took it from me. We're done.